He danced with my wife at the party. What happened seconds later left everyone shocked. I knew something was off the moment she started laughing. Not the kind of laugh that comes from shared inside jokes or old memories. No. This one was different. It was sharp, breathless, tinged with something that made my chest tighten. It wasn't for me. Across the room, under the soft amber glow of the chandeliers, my wife Emily was dancing. Not with me but with him. Jake Turner. My oldest friend. He had his hand on her waist, fingers just a little too familiar, a little too confident. Their bodies moved close, closer than friends should, and I watched as she tilted her head back, laughing again at something he whispered in her ear. The music faded into a blur, but that laughter, it kept echoing in my head. It was supposed to be a simple evening, our annual neighborhood dinner party. I'd hosted it every year since we moved into Maplewood Lane. Emily loved it, the decorations, the food, the chance to play hostess. She'd spent the last week perfecting every detail. The candles, the playlist, even the way the napkins were folded. But tonight she was different, distant, restless. Even before Jake arrived, she'd been glued to her phone, smiling at messages she wouldn't show me. When I asked, she said, "Just Sarah, wedding stuff." I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. Jake showed up late as usual. Sleeves rolled up, that same charming grin he always wore, the one that got him out of everything. We'd been friends since college. Roommates, brothers in all but blood. When I introduced him to Emily years ago, I never thought twice. Maybe I should have. "Hey man," Jake said, clapping my shoulder when he walked in. "Sorry I'm late. Traffic was hell." "Yeah," I said, forcing a smile. "You made it." Emily came around the corner just then. That navy blue dress I'd helped her zip up still clinging to her perfectly. Her eyes lit up. "Jake, you came." That brightness. I hadn't seen it for me in months. She hugged him too long, too tight. His hands rested just above her hips before he let go. Noticed. And for the rest of the evening I noticed everything. The way her eyes darted toward him during dinner. The way they shared secret smiles across the table. How she laughed at every word that came from his mouth. When the music started and people moved to the dance floor, Jake extended his hand toward her, half joking. "Come on, one dance for old times' sake." Old times. My stomach knotted at the phrase. Emily hesitated for half a second, then glanced at me. "You don't mind, do you?" I wanted to say yes. I wanted to tell him to back off. To tell her to remember whose wife she was. But I didn't. I forced a grin. Of course not. Because saying no would have made it real. They danced. Not a quick, playful shuffle. Whoa. This was slow, close, intimate. Her hand rested on his shoulder like it belonged there. His fingers traced her back in ways that made my blood boil. And I stood there, smiling, pretending, while inside me something broke. My friend Mark walked up beside me, holding a beer. He followed my gaze. You good man?" "Yeah," I lied. "Just tired." He looked again at them. "They seem close." "Yeah," I said softly. "They do." The song ended, but they didn't stop. Another started, and they kept moving. It was then that I saw it, the way Jake looked at her. Like he already knew her. Like he'd already had her. And she didn't look away. 10 minutes later, I went upstairs under the excuse of checking on the drinks. In truth, I needed air. I needed to stop pretending everything was fine. When I reached our bedroom, I noticed her phone on the dresser. The screen lit up with a new notification. "Jake, you look even better than last time." My hand froze midair. Last time. My heart thudded so hard I could feel it in my throat. I opened her messages. My hands trembled as the chat unfolded. Dozens of texts. Flirty, playful, secret. Pictures. Late night, I miss you messages. A hotel booking from 2 weeks ago. The same weekend she'd said she was visiting her sister. It felt like someone had punched the air out of my lungs. Every word, every emoji, every memory we'd built, reduced to nothing but lies. I walked back downstairs, numb. The party was still alive. Laughter, clinking glasses, the illusion of normalcy. Emily was at the bar now, leaning against Jake, whispering something in his ear. I didn't feel anger yet, just silence. Then I realized, everyone else had noticed too. They just weren't saying anything. Mark caught my eye again, and this time there was pity in his expression. That pity burned more than the betrayal itself. I took a deep breath, stepped forward, and grabbed the microphone near the speakers. "Hey everyone," I said, my voice louder than I expected. The chatter died instantly. Emily turned, startled. "Daniel, what are you?" "I just wanted to thank everyone for coming tonight," I began, forcing a smile. "Especially my wife. And my best friend." The room went still. Jake shifted awkwardly. "Man, maybe now's not." "No, Jake," I cut him off. "Now's perfect." I held up her phone, the screen still glowing with their messages. "Because what's a party without a little entertainment, right?" Emily's face drained of color. "Daniel, please don't." I read one line aloud. "You look even better than last time." Gasps filled the room. She reached for me, tears already spilling. "It's not what you think." "Then what is it, Emily?" My voice cracked. "Tell me how it's not what I think." Jake stepped forward. "Look man, it just happened, okay? It didn't mean anything." That broke me. Didn't mean anything. I laughed bitterly. "You destroy a marriage, and it didn't mean anything?" Emily was crying now, shaking her head. "I made a mistake. Please, Daniel." "Yeah," I said softly. "You did." I dropped the phone into her drink. It fizzed and sank. Then I turned to the guests, stunned, silent, wide-eyed. "Sorry everyone," I said quietly. "The party's over." The night air hit me like a slap as I stepped outside. Behind me I heard muffled voices, Emily calling my name, Jake trying to explain. I didn't look back. I walked until the noise faded into nothing but the wind and the hum of distant traffic. My hands were shaking. My chest felt hollow. I'd thought heartbreak would feel like fire, like rage. But it felt like drowning. Every memory of her, our wedding, our laughter, our lazy Sundays, all replayed in my head, poisoned now by what I'd seen. Hours later she came home. I was sitting on the couch, staring at the blank TV screen. She stood in the doorway, makeup streaked, eyes swollen. "Daniel," she whispered. "Please talk to me." I didn't answer. "I didn't mean for it to happen," she said, voice breaking. "You've been so distant." I felt unseen, unwanted. I looked up at her then, tears burning my eyes. "So you found someone else to see you?" A sob. "It was never about him. I just wanted to feel loved again." Her words twisted something inside me. Because the truth was, I had been distant. Work, stress, late nights. I'd let the space between us grow, thinking love could survive on autopilot. But betrayal wasn't a solution. It was a choice. "I could have forgiven distance," I said quietly. "But not deception." She fell to her knees, crying. "Please don't leave me." I stood up slowly, walked past her, and said the words that sealed everything. "I already did." 2 months later, the house felt emptier than ever. The laughter, the warmth, all gone. Sometimes I'd catch myself reaching for my phone, wanting to text her, to tell her something funny, something small, then remember. Jake tried calling once. I never answered. Emily sent letters I never opened. I wasn't angry anymore, just tired. Because betrayal doesn't end with the moment you find out. It lingers, in memories, in songs, in the spaces love once filled. But sometimes, endings aren't about revenge or closure. They're about survival. And that night, the night he danced with my wife, was the night I finally learned what it meant to walk away.